change or we allow any.
Good evening, parents. We're just waiting for the room to load, so we're going to start in about a minute or two. We're just waiting for everyone to load in.
All right.
Welcome, grade 9 families. Welcome to our grade 9 Parents and Guardian Information Night. I would like to now introduce our Vice Principal, Ms. Torrente, to read our land acknowledgement.
The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treated territories of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live.
The Durham District School Board recognizes Indigenous rights are distinct. In the exercise of those rights, Indigenous staff and students shall not be subjected to actions with the aim or effect of depriving these distinct rights.
The Durham District School Board is committed to learning environments that are safe, welcoming, respectful, equitable, accessible, inclusive, and free from discrimination, while placing human rights and equity at the center. At this time, it is my honor to introduce you to our fabulous trustee, Patrice Burns.
Hi, thank you. That picture feels like a lifetime away. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you, parents. Welcome to our grade 9 night. This is one of the times that's especially special to me for to go in and meet our new students going in on their adventure. And so we want to thank you for coming out and for, not just for here tonight, but with your patience and your understanding and your support, because in the last 2 years have not been easy. And so it's going to be a different year for your grade 9 students. However, a lot of the same things are still, and that was my grade 9 that you heard yelling in the background. But the principles are the same, that we're encouraging our students as they're transitioning to grade 9 to be a part of a community, to get involved and to find their people, because it makes the transition way easier. And I dropped off my grade 9 students this morning to school, and I try to take pictures and I embarrassed her. So we all know how that feels, but it is an exciting time, and the time goes by so fast in regards to having our students. Before we know it, we'll be dropping them off at university. And so I encourage you to stay involved, especially this year. COVID has definitely given us challenges, and it's given us opportunities. And one of the opportunities that we recognize is the ability for parents to be involved and more tied into the school, because we have options where you can be online and not just in school. So I want to thank you and encourage you and share my anxiety and my joy about having a grade 9 student. And transitions are never easy, but the staff at J. Clark is a fantastic staff and always willing to support and always willing to keep the communication lines open. So I encourage us to all do the same. So thank you and have a great rest of the night.
Okay, we will go through the agenda. We're going to have a welcome from our amazing principal, Jeff Maharaj, followed by you will have the vice principal speaking to you about the code of conduct, numeracy, literacy, and we have a fantastic grade 9 guidance counselor who will be speaking to you as well. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Principal of J. Clark Richardson, Jeff Maharaj.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm gonna have the same comment as Patrice. That picture of me is a world away. That's from my last school. Before I get started with the formal part of today, I just want to thank you all for being here today. I know it's early, it's 5 o'clock. A lot of us are at work still, so I'm glad you're able to carve the time out of your day to join us. Typically, we have a special day for grade 9s at the beginning of the year where we bring parents in and we do all kinds of things like that. But unfortunately, under circumstances, we aren't able to do that. So I'm glad that you're able to join us today. So I'm going to do the formal part now. So good afternoon. My name is Jeff Maharaj, and I am the very proud principal here at J. Clark Richardson. I'd like to welcome you, the parents and guardians of the STORM graduating class of 2025. Wow, that sounds like it's in the future somewhere. Today, we're using Zoom webinar to conduct this gathering. This technology will allow us to present to you and for you to post questions using the Q&A bottom at the bottom of the screen. So if you have this up on your laptop or computer, if you look down at the middle of the screen, you'll see a spot that says Q&A. And if you click Q&A, you're going to be able to ask us questions. And we will answer the questions kind of in the background. The other panelists will be answering them as we go along. And I'll also try to do my best to try and answer some questions later on also. So the other feature that we have in this program is that you can upvote questions. So if you go into Q&A and you see the other questions and you see one that you are going to ask, instead of asking it a second time, you can click on that question where it says upvote next to it, I believe. And that will allow you, sorry, I think it says like, my mistake. It says like and not upvote. You can click like, and that's going to let us know that that's a really important question. And it moves up to the top of the queue, so to speak. And so we'll get answered faster. So if you see a question that's important, click like, and we'll get in there for you. So I want to say that I'm truly a lucky person. I've been principal here at Richardson for the last 3 years. So this is my 4th year here. And I've had the opportunity to work with some wonderful students here. And I've also met some of you as parents over the years, because I'm sure some of you probably have had other students that have come through the school before. If we've not met before, then this is a great chance for me to tell you a little bit about myself. I have worked for the Durham District School Board for over 20 years. I think this is actually year 24 if I had to do the counting. And I know I look very young. I know. Thank you. And I have been an administrator or taught at schools in Whitby, Pickering, Oshawa, and then of course now in Ajax. Before coming to Richardson, I was a principal at Eastdale Collegiate out in Oshawa, but I must say Richardson is home. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm enjoying my time here for sure. This morning, I had the pleasure of speaking to our grade 9 class, and I shared with them that I've had the general belief in each and every one of them that they're capable of excellence. As I explained to their students, excellence will take hard work. It's going to take your students' hard work. It's going to take our staff's hard work. And also, it's going to take the hard work of you, the parents, guardians, and caregivers. It's going to take a lot of work for them to achieve the top level of what they can achieve. But I believe that we can all do it if we work at it. I know for many of you, this is both an exciting and anxious time. On one hand, it's great to see your child getting older and moving on to a new school. But on the other hand, high school is the great unknown. I know a lot of you sent your kids off today, not quite knowing what to expect. So, you know, I'm kind of in that same boat. You sent your students here to get to know the teachers. We have over 100 teachers here. You don't know the friends that they're going to make in high school. We have almost 1,700 students. I think I just checked a little while ago. We're up to 1,691. We're a big school, but I'm going to assure you that these are natural feelings to have that apprehension when you send your student off to school. I'm going through this myself. My youngest started grade 9 today, so he started in high school. 2 weeks ago, I dropped off my eldest at university for the first time, moved her into a residence. So I've got all these feelings too, and this kind of not quite sure what to expect. But trust me, you're going to get to know this school, you're going to get to know their friends, and you're also going to get to know that this is a great place for our kids to learn. Over the next 4 years, your children are going to be are going to learn the skills to become independent adults capable of navigating through this ever-changing world. Our staff is going to support their development into proficient learners and prepare them for post-secondary destinations, whether that's the world of work, a skilled trade, or post-secondary education. When parents and guardians come to these events, some of you are always hoping to get a secret to making your child successful in high school. And to be honest, I wish I had that secret, and you'll hear me say this all the time, because if I did, I'd probably be writing books, I'd be selling them to parents, and be a very, very wealthy person. I don't have the secret to success, but what I can say is I know the things that's going to take for your students to pursue that excellence. So the first thing I have to say is that I need you as parents to support your children in their courses to the best of your ability. Find out what courses they're taking, ask them if they have homework, and hope that they tell you the truth. Find out if they need help. Communicate with the school through social media. We do post a lot of information, so a lot of parents, when the students get to high school, lose touch with school. The easiest thing you can do is just follow us and you'll get the updates as to what's happening. We use Google Classrooms for each grade here at the school, and they are updated regularly by our guidance department as well as the main office. But you can also email and telephone to talk to teachers and to talk to admin, talk to guidance. We need parents to support regular attendance and punctuality. Your child needs to come to school on time if they're going to learn the materials that are being offered. For the last year and a half or some of you, your students haven't been at school, so they haven't had to have this routine of getting up in the morning and getting to school. So we really need to work on that. And we really need to work with our students about lunchtime, because of course, in high school, they're allowed to leave at lunch and they have to find their way back on time. So please encourage your students to do those things on time and be here regularly. We need parents to support the school, their students in getting involved with school. High school is so much more than just 2 classes a day as it is right now. As you'll find out more and more throughout the year, we will be adding more and more of an extracurricular program. And I want you as parents to encourage your students to get involved and to support them in their involvement. You know, you might need to drop them off for practices. You might need to drop them off for games, all those kind of things, but we want you to do that with your student. Encourage them to get involved, because my experience is that students that are involved in schools do better academically also. They just do. It's a correlation that's out there. So make sure your students get involved. I want you to work with your students to instill a growth mindset. You're going to have to teach them that sometimes you're going to fail at things, but it's what you do with that failure that builds the character within them. They need to take that failure and learn from it and apply that to the next time they're faced with that same challenge. As parents, I want you to be supportive and involved. A lot of times when kids go to high school, parents kind of say, oh, they're in high school, I don't need to worry anymore. You really need to worry because they need you even more in high school. Your child needs you to help guide them, of course, needs you to give them good advice. But we also want parents that are going to get involved with school and be aware of what's happening with school. You need to know your sons or daughters' teachers. You need to know how to get in touch with them. It's important that you're aware of important school dates, things like school events, report card dates, exam times. All those are really important. We do share those out, but as parents, you need to be aware of when they're happening. I encourage parents to get involved with our school community council. Ours is very different than your experience that you would have had in elementary school. First and foremost, I want to say that we do not fundraise in high schools. So if you're worried about joining our SEC because we're going to hit you up to raise money for us, you don't need to. I'll never ask you to raise money. Really, what we do with our school community council is that we give an opportunity for parents to hear what's happening in the school, to ask questions of the administration, and to develop a plan for their students moving forward to make the school a better place for them. Our first SEC meeting is September 15th at 7 o'clock. Yes, that's next Wednesday. We'll be doing another, I'll be sending out the invitation soon, but we'll be doing an online forum for our SEC until we're able to meet in person. One thing that I also want you to do is ask your students each day when you come home and see them, what they learned today, how they're doing, what challenges they're facing at school. It's important that you know how school is going for your children. Don't accept the one-word answers that teenagers are willing to give. I know my own kids usually came home with good, fine, and that's all they offered. Then you got to ask the deeper question. What'd you do in math class today? What'd you learn in math class today? Who'd you eat lunch with today? Those kind of questions will let you know how their high school experience is going. And the last thing is, parents, I'm asking you to please encourage good habits in your young people. Sleep schedule is a big one. Make sure they're going to bed at a reasonable time. Don't let them take their electronics in their bedroom with them at night, because I guarantee you those electronics will be keeping them up all night. So please have a bedtime for your student, but also have a bedtime for their electronics. The other thing is, make sure they're eating. Our school day is really long. The classes are very long in the morning and afternoon. It's a long time to sit here. We don't have lunch until 12:30. For some of our students that get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, that's a long time to go without eating. So encourage good eating habits. They learn best if they're not tired and if they're not hungry. So let's make sure we take care of those as parents. Of course, I'm sure many of you have had concerns about your children returning to in-person learning this fall. The pandemic is what it is. It's had a tremendous impact on all of us. Our goal at Richardson is to provide a safe and healthy learning environment that supports the learning of our students and also allows them to go to class without having to worry about their safety. We're going to support them socially and emotionally also on top of the academics. We want to make sure that we're developing the whole student. So we're following all the health and safety protocols as laid out by our school board, of course, in consultation with Durham Health. These are available publicly at the ddsb.ca website. You can see what the return to school plan is for all schools. So if you have questions with regards to cleaning schedules, spacing in classrooms, things of that nature, that's all in that document that's shared publicly. So at this time, you've probably heard me drone on enough. So I want to introduce the rest of my admin team here at Richardson. And the first people I want to introduce, of course, are the vice principals. We have a great team, 3 vice principals. We have Carla Torrente. If your student has a last name that begins with letters A to G, she would be their vice principal. We have Simon Jadoon, also one of our VPs. She has students with last names H to O. And some of you that know our school will realize there's a new person in the group. I'd like to welcome Sue Neblett to our team here at Richardson. She is the vice principal that will be taking over alphabet P to Z. Of course, we organize ourselves based on the alphabet, but we are administrators of the school, and we will deal with all of our students as we need to, or as they need us to talk to. So the one thing I just want to let you parents know that are new to grade 9 is that we organize our schools a little bit differently than elementary school. We are organized by departments, and each department has a department head. So sometimes you're going to have questions about courses that are a little bit beyond necessarily what's happening in the class. So for example, you may have a student in grade 9 this year, and next year you're thinking, you know what, they really want to get into business. And we need to talk to someone that can tell us a little bit more about the business courses that are offered in the school. Then you can contact the department heads. All of these are listed on our website. You can find them there quite easily under the department heads tab. But these are the department heads at Richardson. We divide ourselves up into these departments: the arts, business, Canada World Studies, which is history and geography, classical and international language. Those are your language teachers, the French, Spanish that we offer here at the school. We have co-op, we have English, guidance and career education, health and phys ed, library, math, science, social sciences and humanities, spec ed, and of course, technology. Those are our departments here, and those are the names of the department heads that lead those up. Next slide, please. And so I'm going to turn things over to the vice principals because they're much more pleasant to listen to. So I'm going to turn things over to Sue Neblett first. Sue, take it away.
Hello and welcome. As you heard, my name is Sue Neblett, and I am a brand new vice principal here at Richardson this year. I am looking forward to a fantastic school year and getting to know the students and the school and the community. As the slide indicates, I'm responsible for students with the last names P to Z. So if your child falls within this alpha range and you have questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. You can contact me by email or by phone. I am more than happy to speak with you for any reason. So we just wanted to go over a few reminders to ensure a successful start to this school year. First and foremost, there is no smoking permitted on school property. So this includes cigarettes, vaping products, and marijuana. Students should not be in possession or under the influence, as especially our grade 9 students, you are underage. In terms of dress code, we are asking students to dress accordingly for the learning environment. So this means that clothing worn should not be offensive to others in any way. Please note that some classes may require students to dress in a certain way for safety reasons, and we're asking that students and parents follow the guidelines set out by the teacher where applicable to ensure safety. If you have questions or concerns, I'm encouraging you to reach out to your child's classroom teacher first, and by all means, you can follow up with me. New this year, we are not issuing lockers to students. We're really trying hard to ensure that there's not a lot of milling about and students clumping together and congregating in common spaces. We want to, as much as we can, keep the hallways clear, keep the traffic flow moving, space out as much as possible as per public health. And last on this slide, I want to just talk to you a little bit about lunch. So your choices really when it comes to lunch this year, going home is an option. Students can go out if they want to purchase lunch in the community, or they are more than welcome to bring a bagged lunch from home. There will be no food or vending machine services. However, the cafeteria is open, but we do have limited spaces. No matter where your child chooses to eat lunch, we are asking them to sit and eat so that we're not having masks off and students wandering around. Right now, the weather is fantastic. A lot of our students are happy to go outside, but obviously we do know that the poorer weather and colder weather is coming, but we are going to do our best to encourage as much of that social distancing as we possibly can. In terms of our bells, times, and entries, our school doors, all doors will be open at 9:40 a.m. each morning. Class will begin at 10 a.m. So we're encouraging all students to get to school on time so that they are in their classes for 10 a.m. Just a little diagram here on the slide to help you make sense of how we are trying to ensure social distancing and those requirements are met. We are asking students to think about where their first period class takes place. So if students are on the first floor, we're encouraging them to enter through the first floor entrance exit doors. Okay, so you'll see on the map where these are located. Students did a good job today of kind of reading the map or asking questions. So we're asking you to enter and exit through the same doors, the same for classes, students on classes on the second floor and the third floor. All right, so again, the doors that you came in through today, we are encouraging you to do that to ensure that we limit the amount of sort of contamination as we move through our spaces and places.
Good evening. It is evening. I can't believe it. My name is Simon Jadoon, and I'm one of the very proud vice principals here at J. Clark Richardson. I've been here a few years, and I'm responsible for students with the last names H through O. I'm going to talk about a few different things, and I'm just going to get started right now. First thing that we are all talking about, and I know Mr. Maharaj mentioned this earlier, is health and safety. Again, just a friendly reminder that all students are required to wear a mask when they are on school property and in the building. So just a reminder that they need to wear a mask daily as they come in. Also daily is the daily COVID screening. We're asking all students to make sure they do their COVID-19 school and childcare screening prior to coming. Our students have been told, and we're going to remind you again, the link is posted on our social media. There is an easy link if they go to our Instagram page, which we highly encourage, and I will continue to encourage for them to follow. Once they click on the link in the bio, they press the button for self-screening, and immediately they can do it in the palm of their hands as they're coming to school, before they come to school. So just a reminder that that has to be done daily. We also, and it can be done, like I said, on a computer or through your cell phone. We want to let you know there is a deep cleaning done every day at our school once the students leave. And we also want you to know that the high touch points are cleaned twice daily. So we are doing our best to make sure that we are maintaining a healthy and safe environment for our staff and students within the building. We are putting daily reminders. We have posters up there reminding students to continue to sanitize their hands when they enter the building, when they exit, and when they are involved in other activities that require them to sanitize their hands. So health and safety, like Mr. Maharaj was saying, is in consultation with the DDSB and Durham Public Health. So we are doing our best to make sure that this facility, all of our classrooms, staff, and students are doing everything they need to do to keep that environment safe. I also wanted to talk about parent and guardian engagement. We all know that it's so important for parents and guardians to be involved, and the importance of strong links between home and school to create a positive learning environment. We want you to know what's happening. And Mr. Maharaj has mentioned this earlier about how we're so involved when students are in elementary, but once they get to high school, it's okay, you know, go and do your thing. And if we don't hear any complaints, we're good. But we really encourage you to be involved. I remember my parents, they really were not involved, but I really wish they were, because there's so many amazing things happening in our building that we want you to know about, and we want you to support your children, because it's so important for parents to be involved. We encourage you to get to know the teachers, and of course the administrative team. The guidance counselor is really key. And there's different volunteer activities. Right now, the school community council is a wonderful way for you to get involved and see what's happening. And we also provide a school code of conduct in various languages at the school. So if you are in need of that, please reach out and we will make sure we get that to you. So as I was saying about getting involved, you want to keep an eye on what's going on in the school. Daily announcements are put out through our social media. We are very proud here at Richardson on how active we are on our social media platforms. We of course post information on our website and on our Twitter, but I'm going to tell all of the parents and guardians right now, take out your phones and follow us at JCR Storm. You probably heard me last year in February when we spoke to most of you at our grade 8 parent night. how important it is. We are posting information daily. We will be posting stuff that happened today, and maybe you will see one of your children on our Instagram post. So please get involved and see what's happening in the classes and what's happening in the school and what events are upcoming. I can tell you right now, we have things coming up for not only Spirit Days, Terry Fox, Orange Shirt Day, and it's important to know all of this information in addition to a school spirit web store that's happening right now. And, you know, we need our parents to help their children purchase those lovely spirit gear. So make sure you get involved, get the information, because, you know, I think it's very important. It's the #1 way you can kind of spy on what's happening in the school. Last but not least, I really want to touch on literacy. We have many literacy initiatives happening at Richardson throughout all of the grades, but we want you to know that in grade 9, we have these little lit bits, which is an introductory to the OSSLT, and it's a prep program that we run. We also have ongoing literacy instruction within all classes. I should bring this up as I'm talking. And a White Pine reading program for our library, which again is now open during lunch hour for students to come in and enjoy reading or working. It's a great place, and it's usually very, very happening because students love that quiet atmosphere. And again, we have a literacy prep Google Classroom that we actually started pre-COVID, and we've just continued to develop. And we offer that support to students that need it. So information, updates, resources for parents, again, will be posted on our school website and through our social media. This is the best way to stay informed. And at this time, I'm going to pass it over to one of our amazing vice principals, Ms. Torrente.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jadoon. Hi, everyone. My name is Carla Torrente, or if you're very good at rolling your R's, you can say Torrente. I am excited to be here for my 4th year at Richardson. I think I'm in my 24th year as well, Jeff. Not to, you know, say that we're getting old or anything like that, but 24 years and about 7 as a vice principal. Before that, I've taught at a variety of schools. I've also worked at the board office in an officer role, and as well done a multitude of different other things there. And I have to say that Richardson is probably my favorite space so far, but shh, don't tell anyone else, okay? We'll just keep this between us. So I am excited to be working with all of your children, and it's great to have people back in person and live. It's got that little bit of a vibe and that feeling again of school. So it's great to be back. And I am also responsible for overseeing the numeracy portfolio at Richardson. And so working with the math department, working through providing professional development and support, and doing planning with our teachers to help support your students. And so one of the things we know, and you know, it's been a couple of years since we've done any EQAO, so it'll be a bit of a change again for your students. They may have missed a round in there at some point, but we will be expected to be working through the grade 9 EQAO numeracy test that will take place at dates to be determined, but throughout each quadmester. And so students who are enrolled in grade 9 math will write the assessment that coordinates with the quadmester that they are enrolled in. And so more information will be coming with that. This year it is online, but they will write it in school. Attendance is mandatory, so please ensure that your student is present those days. Information will go out obviously on our website through your child's Google Classroom that they will have access to, and of course on our social media, all of that will be posted as well. One of the big changes for grade 9 this year, and we are really excited about it, and our teachers are as well, they're working through that, is around de-streaming grade 9 math. And that basically means taking a program that has been at an academic and applied level and combining those, because we know the impact that can have on a lot of students. I am also a mom of a high school student. She just began high school on Tuesday, and been working through those transition as well. And she actually happens to have math this quadmester. So it's interesting to hear what's been happening the first couple of days. The reason for that de-streaming, it just really is, at the end of grade 8, how can we possibly expect students, children, parents, families, caregivers, all of that to know exactly what they want to do when they go off into grade 9. They're 14 years old, and we want to keep those doors open as long as possible. We know that we want students to be successful. We know that we can provide the supports. Our teachers do an amazing job, and we know that we can provide the supports for our students to be successful and to keep those doors open to post-secondary. We know the impact that can have on students in terms of when they choose a path too early, being able to recoup that. And we know that does detrimental harm to certain particular racialized groups in our communities. And so the movement in the province is to de-stream grade 9 math, and then of course be eventually looking at other programs in grade 9 as well. It really is to the benefit of all students when we're working together. And so our teachers have started work with that after the provincial announcement last year, before the end of the year, to start to look at how the new curriculum is placed and how best to support our students, recognizing as well that it has been and is still a pandemic, and students have had some different types of learning experiences in the last few years. So how then, rather than when we talk about closing gaps, I don't really like that language. How do we support students to bring them to the level that they are capable of in order to be successful? And that's really what we want to work through. So there'll be more information that I'm sure you'll hear from your students over the next little while, and that will be communicated as well, and we'll be working with our staff through that. And now I'm going to turn it over to our fabulous and dynamic Miss Abigail Pearson, who is our grade 9 counselor, and we are so happy to have her back. She's a longtime teacher at Richardson, but joined the virtual team last year, and we are thrilled to have her back in person. So Miss Pearson, over to you.
Thank you for that lovely intro. Hello, my name is Abigail Pearson. I have been here at Richardson for over 16 years, and in the role of a guidance counselor for 10 of those years. I am so excited to be here supporting you and your students for their grade 9 year. I will be there to support your students with course selections, share resources with you that will help you with your decisions for post-secondary pathways, and help to support your overall well-being. Or even simple things like having trouble finding a class, pop into guidance, and we work as a team to help our students. Next slide, please. I do have parents and guardians ask, how can I support my student? Knowing your student's schedule will be very helpful information for you. And this can be accessed through Parent Portal next week. And it can also be accessed through my blueprint. My blueprint may sound familiar to you because that was what students used to select their courses in grade 8. Every Richardson student does have access to a Chromebook technology to support their learning. If your Chromebook is not working, I do get a lot of questions about that. Please bring it in with you and let your teacher know, and we will help create a help ticket for you and get that looked after right away. As Mr. Maharaj said at the beginning, getting involved is something I really do encourage students to do the most. I find students are really involved in their elementary schools, and then when they come to high school, they stop. And there are so many positions on school councils, committees, sports and clubs held for grade 9s. And grade 9s, we want your ideas, we want your energy, we want your school spirit. So please encourage your students to join, to try out, or even to be open to the idea. Encourage parents, school life and balance. I have to remind myself every day to do the same. Continue to check in with your students to see how they're doing. And yes, students, we encourage your parents and guardians to ask you, how was your school day today? Next slide, please. So we will be continuing with the quadmester system, 2 courses each semester. Period 1 will run from 10 to 12:35 p.m. Then we'll have lunch from 12:35 to 1:30 p.m. And period 2 will run from 1:30 to 4 p.m. Next slide, please. So once again, guidance is here to help from pathway planning. We also monitor our students' progress throughout the school year, and we help to intervene with supports when needed. So extra help, peer tutoring. I will be there to help to support your students. Next slide, please. Students are required to do 40 hours of community service. I will be posting both regular and virtual opportunities for students on the grade 9 Google Classroom. Activities must be outside of class time and unpaid. Next slide, please. I will also post an electronic version of community hours on the Google Classroom for you. This form must be signed by the person who's managing community hours, and then it's handed into guidance, and that could be done through email or coming into the office. Next slide, please. A date to note is Wednesday, November 3rd. This day is Take Our Kids to Work Day. We, at this point in time, are unsure of the details, but we will update you when we know more information. Next slide, please. If you need to contact me, please feel free to call or email. I would also ask grade 9s to please sign up to the Google Classroom. I will be using it to post important information. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. And at this point in time, I will now pass it along to Ms. Jadoon.
I'm just going to briefly touch on a couple things. First, School Cash Online. That's how we collect money from students. I know a lot of elementary schools. I'm pretty sure most of our family of schools have already been using School Cash Online, so you should be familiar with it. We're not sending home permission forms or a list of things and you send in money in an envelope and send it in. That's not happening. Everything will be available for parents to purchase through School Cash Online. So please, if you have any questions on how to set that up or how to have access, do not hesitate to call the main office at our regular school number, and one of our secretaries will be more than happy to guide you through it and set that up if you're having any sort of technical issues. The next thing we want to let you know is that Breakfast Club is coming soon. We're just kind of fine tuning the details. Mr. Maharaj was mentioning to us that, we just have to make sure we're following all health protocols. So if you stay tuned, we will be sharing that information out with all students through social media, our website, and through their teachers. So stay tuned for that. I also want to introduce you, and they're not here today, but we do have 2 students who are co-prime ministers of our student government this year, Pranav as well as Rukshaya. They are fantastic students. They've already been out today. They were part of the mentorship leadership students today who were guiding and welcoming and helping students and helping guidance and helping admin today guide all the kids into the building and get them to their classes. So they will be very present on social media as well. We encourage you to ask your children to touch base with them because they're really, really open about helping your students get involved. Like Mr. Maharaj and Ms. Pearson said, super important, and it makes your time here that much better. So please make sure you do that. And I'm going to now pass it back to our lovely boss, Mr. Maharaj, who's going to say a few closing words.
I enjoy the fact that I was introduced as lovely. That's a good word descriptor. Thank you so much. You might notice that we have one person here in the background that hasn't said anything today. It's Miss Amanda Fleming. She is smiling away and waving at me and making faces. She is our head of guidance. She is wonderful, a great resource for us to have, and she's been answering questions in the background that have been asked for the Q&A. I just want to thank everyone that made tonight possible. We had a great turnout. We've had probably about 100 different parents come through at different times, and hopefully they may be sitting with other parents in their distanced lives, and so we have more than 100 viewing. But I do want to thank everyone that put some work into getting today ready. I want to thank Patrice Barnes, our trustee, for making herself available to us. She's a very busy lady, so it was nice that we could get her in there today. I want to thank the guidance department for their efforts in getting everything ready for this week, but especially for Abby and Amanda for being here today and being a part of our presentation. And of course, I want to thank our admin team, the vice principals, especially for putting some really long hours the last few days trying to get things up and running, and for putting things together today, because I surprised them with this event just a little while ago. So I am thankful for that. The last little thing I just want to say is I appreciate you parents for coming here today. This is part of what it's going to take to make sure your student is successful, is being involved as much as you can and being here for these types of events. You won't hear it from them, but I'm sure they're thankful for the efforts that you put into helping raise them and staying involved in their lives. For the next few minutes, we're going to stay here answering a few questions in the Q&A. You won't see or hear us, and then all of a sudden you'll see everything go blank. That's when we end. So the time now is 4:46. I'm probably going to end this webinar, 5:46. I'm going to end the webinar around 5:55, let's say. So we're going to stay around for 10 minutes and just answer questions as we can. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. I hope I got you out of here in time that you can still have your dinner on time and do those things that you need to do with your evening. I'm excited about being back in school. I'm excited to have your students here as our grade 9s, and hopefully you got something out of our presentation today. Take care, everyone. Good night.